All right, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of Toon, the podcast. We are the Southern Hemisphere's biggest and best and only dedicated podcast to all things Newcastle United. Joining me from a chilly but awesome Brisbane, Nelly said about there. How are you doing, Mark?
Yeah, doing well. Apparently, England is still shit. Anthony Gordon's still suffering from the grass chewing on his sock, but otherwise, the weather's starting to behave itself down in Brisbane. Still plenty of rain around, which is weird for this time of year, but no, not to worry. I'm getting the long PJs out now.
Yeah, if anyone didn't know it, 1st of June is the start of winter here in Australia, which is normally the best time of year for those in the northern part of the country anyway. It's absolutely glorious right now. But today we've got a bit of a jam-packed show, and we're going to try and get through it as quick as we can. We're going to talk about the latest transfer news surrounding our club, and we are going to kick off with Lloyd Kelly. Now, Lloyd Kelly is a name that's been going around for a good number of weeks now, maybe a month or two as well. Going to potentially be a free transfer if rumours and reports are true from Bournemouth. Looks as though he's going to be leaving them and signing for the famous black and white. Mark, what do you think of Lloyd Kelly as well as a player, and what do you make of diving into the free transfer market?
Firstly, I think free transfers are an absolutely brilliant idea given our excessive whinging about FFP and all of that and the issues that we have had so far. He's obviously an Eddie Howe player. Eddie Howe brought him to Bournemouth in the first place, didn't he? So, Look, there's always that little bit of niggle on social media whenever Eddie Howe's going after a Bournemouth player. But, as a free transfer, he fills a good gap in our squad in terms of squad depth. He adds strength to the squad depth. He's better than anyone that we're releasing at the moment. He's versatile, can play centre-back and left-back. He's actually a very underrated player, I feel. I don't think he gets the credit that he probably deserves for the way he plays and how good a player he actually is. He's athletic, he's tall, typical Eddie Howe type of player. The only question mark I think everyone's got is over his fitness record, which isn't great. But, look, hopefully we've managed to wiggle out what's actually wrong with our fitness problems from last season, and he doesn't end up coming in and adding to it.
Well, since he joined Bournemouth back in 2019 for a fee of 13 million quid, he's played 141 games and missed 81 due to injury. Those injuries have been a mixture of ankle injuries, hamstring injuries, ligament injuries, plus your niggle every now and again as well. 81 games since the summer of 2019. Is that a huge concern for you?
It's a worry.
Too.
Yeah, I think it's like for me, I think it's probably reassuring that it's not the same injury that's reoccurring every time. So there's not like an actual weakness there. Maybe he's just one of those players, that we're dealing with players these days and in probably most sports, I think you would say as well, where pace, power, it's all about sort of like how quick the player is, how athletic they are. They're not built for endurance these days. They're not built for like sort of hard contacts and like robust tackles and all of that sort of thing. They're not a contact player kind of contact sport kind of player in terms of their physiques nowadays. So you do kind of feel that look, maybe he's just sort of maybe he's had to play too many games. I don't know. I don't know the ins and outs of everything that he's done. But if you look at when he has played, he's had the captain's armband for them. He's played well. He's just, every now and again he picks up a knock. Hopefully the fact is that he's, look, as soon as Botman gets back, there's going to be direct competition for him. Lewis Hall's there, had a brilliant end to the season. So for me, I'm really hoping that Kelly doesn't come in and take over that left back spot, and then Lewis Hall's kind of like on the outer again. Even though, he needs rest, same as Lewis Miley. He shouldn't have played that many games last season. But look, I mean, to me, it makes perfect sense to kind of have somebody to come in that fills a squad depth position, gives competition for places. We can rotate players, so hopefully it is literally a case where he has a little bit less workload, so he doesn't get quite as many injuries. Time will tell.
And by all accounts, and as you just mentioned before, he seems to be a solid player, very dependable when he has played. And although he's not Anthony Gordon quick, he does have a little bit of pace, and that's obviously something that we lacked big time. And season just gone with players getting in behind. Do you think that's an attribute Eddie has looked at in Kelly and thought that's something we can absolutely do with?
Probably, yeah. I think Eddie Howe just likes quick, tall, athletic profile players. So he ticks all the boxes in terms of that for him. So it's not hard to see why this is the second time he's signing him, if everything goes through. So look, he's one of those types of players that I think he's deceptively quick. I don't think he looks like he's blazingly fast, but he seems to read the game pretty well, and then has enough in his tank to actually recover if there is an actual issue with his positioning or whatever. Certainly, we've needed some pace at the back all this season. Just gone. It's been one of our Achilles' heels at the back. So any pace that we can add in there is good by me.
Now, a free transfer is never normally a free transfer, if you want to call it that, because there's so much that happens behind the scenes that we don't know about. Yes, there's no actual fee for the player going to his previous club, but you've got agents' fees, you've got signing on fees, then there's potentially higher wage that this player can demand because he could be a sought after free agent. He's currently on 30 grand a week now at Bournemouth. We had a very brief conversation earlier on about what his wage could maybe if he does sign. And you reckon he could be pushing around about 100K a week, you think?
I think it'd been certainly up in that ballpark. It's about the measure. It's about the amount that we were looking to pay for Tosin, I believe, which Chelsea blew out the water with 160 grand a week instead. So, not hard to see where he's turned that down from. But look, if they're looking for the same kind of level of sort of salary for a free agent type player. I mean, how much did Matty Target get? 125K a week.
Yeah.
Potentially, he's not going to be looking at that, but I'd say definitely 80 to 100.
Yeah, it's a huge increase if the report of 30K a week is correct. No doubt you'll be jumping at the bandwagon to get that kind of coin in the bank. Who wouldn't? And do you think he could just potentially be a stopgap until Botman and all the cells is back fit from their long-term injury? Or do you think he could genuinely fight for a starting first team place?
I think he's a genuine upgrade on Paul Dummett, and I
Okay.
think you would hope for the fact that he would actually push other players for their positions, be that at left centre half or at left back. It's hard to say exactly where. I mean, I'm assuming we're buying him to play in the centre of defence because Botman's out injured. When Botman comes back, it's hard to see Botman not getting his place back at some stage. Eddie Howe being Eddie Howe, it's always going to be a case of earn your positions back, but you're going to have to feel that Botman is the Rolls Royce player at the back there that we want to kind of get back in as soon as he's 100% fit. So, but look, even if he gives good competition, we're hoping that we have a good season next season and we qualify for Europe again, and so then that brings on more games. We need that rotation, we need that squad depth, we need players that Eddie Howe's happy with. So yeah, for me it's a very, very astute signing, even if it's not sort of like the shiny name that everyone wants to hear.
Well, hopefully he's a player that he can be howed twice as well. If he's been done it once at Bournemouth, hopefully he can do it again. And just one other thing, if we do manage to get the signing over the line, which is reported to happen maybe later this week to tie in with the new kit announcement or early next, do you see us adding more depth to the defensive back line across that back four? And if so, what position would be your preferred choice?
I hope so. I do see us still looking in the market. I mean, we were in for both Tosin and Kelly by all accounts, and I still think that right centre back position. We need a younger understudy for Shah. Fabian Shah's not getting any younger. He's probably got 1 or 2 seasons right at the top of his game, I'd say maybe. We need a bit more pace, but we need somebody that has that flair that can ping balls around and a little bit of pace to get back, but comfortable on the ball in that back line. So I do see us still needing to strengthen there. We don't want to go in, Lascelles as good as he's been. You don't want to have to rely on him if Shah's out all the time, and you certainly don't want to have Emil Kraft playing at fullback, just at the centre half. Sorry. That's not something that any of us want to really see.
Not for a long time anyway, at least.
No.
But yeah, it's a signing that looks like it's drawn ever closer and closer. Hopefully it's a one that, and I hate to use this one, we can get over the dotted line. I know that's an old Pardew quote on that one. But yeah, it's something that we do need, defensive reinforcements. No one's seen these long-term injuries for Botman and Lascelles coming, so it's something that had to be done. And the fact he's only 25 years old still means we could still get the best years out of him as well.
There's also the fact that, there's a lot of people saying that Chelsea have just bought Adebayo, or however the hell you pronounce his surname, Tosin. There's a lot of people saying that, well, look, Chelsea can just flip him for a quick profit because they're getting him in on a free transfer, so they can sell him next season or the season after and make a bit of money on him pretty easily. I'm not quite so sure about that, because if you're giving somebody ridiculous wages, you've got to find a club that are willing to then take those wages on and pay a fee. So I do feel it's a little bit dangerous, but if we're not paying stupid amounts of wages out for him and he performs well, maybe he goes somewhere else at the end. Maybe he comes good and, Eddie Howe does his usual trick of getting the most out of players and he plays well above his standard that we're maybe expecting. A lot. There's so much that this could go one way or the other. It's going to just be a case of wait and see.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Again, any player that comes in, I'm sure Eddie can get the best out of and improve. He's done it to pretty much everybody, bar maybe ASM in his time here. So yeah, fingers crossed on that one. Sorry?
And Fraser.
And Fraser, yes. Well, Fraser, he hopefully makes his deal to Southampton permanent very short.
Look, I will say this, though. If Kelly's played for Howe before, he obviously knows what Howe's expectations are. I can't see him having any lower standards when he was at Bournemouth to what he's got here in terms of expectations for the players to put the effort in. So if he's signed up to go under that again, he's obviously good for the challenge. He's up for it. So, like, credit to him. He's not looking for an easy run somewhere. I'm sure he would have had other offers. By all accounts, Liverpool and Man United and everyone's been sniffing about a little bit without any hard and fast offers going in for him. But yeah, look, he's obviously keen. Welcome aboard if we get him.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Hopefully it happens sooner rather than later, and it doesn't drag on for much longer than it already has. But we're going to move on to the next name that has been linked with us, and again, been around for a week or two, this one, and it's gathering a bit of pace. And there was something on social media earlier on this morning or late at night, depending on where you are, that came from an account which is heavily verified, but the account, it wasn't plastering the tweet with hashtags and other random shit, trying to get clicks and everything like that. And this is about the 23-year-old Valencia keeper, and I am absolutely going to butcher this pronunciation here, Giorgio Mamardashvili. No idea how that went.
Well done. Very well done.
Thank you very much. I've been practicing all day, can you tell? But 23-year-old Georgian goalkeeper who currently plays for Valencia. He is their number one, and he is their number one keeper for the national team as well. He will be heading off to the Euros. Rumour has it that we've submitted a bid in the region of 41 million euros, which is about 35 million quid. And there's unconfirmed reports that we've either triggered his release clause or we've met Valencia's valuation of the player. Now, first of all, what do you make of that valuation, Mark? And is it a position where you need to target this window?
I wasn't sure how we would go about it. I think with the likelihood that Karius has gone, Dubravka's leaving, that would leave us with Nick Pope and Mark Gillespie. And after the Melbourne fiasco, I'm pretty confident that none of us really want to see Mark Gillespie get a really long run in the team.
No.
Look, so I think keeper was definitely one position that we figured we would look to strengthen. I wasn't sure whether or not we would be looking to get a definite number two to sit behind Nick Pope and the young Trafford kid that is Burnley, was it? Yeah. So he looked like he could have been a decent option for us, because he wasn't going to. He's got good reputation, but he's not going to demand that first team spot over Nick Pope right now. Or whether or not we literally go all in and just try and do an upgrade. Now, if we do go for this Mamardashvili, then it's pretty much signaling that we've got a competition on our hands for the number one goalkeeper spot. You can't imagine that Nick Pope would be happy losing it. Maybe he's, that's for Eddie Howe to kind of work out what way he wants to go. The last thing we need is to bring another keeper in, Nick Pope throw the toys out the pram and want to go on loan like Martin Dubravka did last time when Nick Pope was brought in. So to me, it's more about balancing those egos, balancing those player desires. If we do go and splash 35 million on a new keeper, that's a massive statement. It also probably indicates we're not quite as badly off in financial fair play terms as is quite often made out. It certainly indicates that we're not in the position where we're going to have to go and sell all of our best players to Arsenal, Liverpool, and Man United, Man City, and everyone. So yeah, that's kind of reassuring that if we do have that kind of money to spend on a keeper, I would hope that does not signify that we're not going to spend it elsewhere, because I think there are some other positions that probably need strengthening a bit more. But yeah, 35 million for a keeper, that's your number one keeper for the next 10 years or something. He's what, 23?
Yeah, 23.
That's a big statement signing, and I think that's something that would probably elevate us up. And if he's willing to sign in on this project like the other young players that we've got in at that kind of level, that's one hell of a strong spine in the team.
Yeah, significantly strong spine. There's not going to be many, if better, in the Premier League or even potentially European clubs that would have a spine as good as Mamardashvili, Botman, Tonali, Bruno, and Isak. That is one hell of a starting names on the team sheet for that one. There's not many better out there, you reckon?
Oh, for sure. That's got. And the thing is, the scary thing is, even if Bruno does end up leaving at some point, and I know none of us want to, Tonali's only 23 or 24, isn't he? So you've got that spine of the team together for probably 6-7 years. That's your, that's the stuff that legacies and dynasties are made on, getting that sort of a lineup together for that amount of time.
Well, Valencia, they only paid 750,000 for this keeper only 18 months ago. So they could turn a very quick profit in a very short space of time. And we all know Spanish clubs, unless you're Real Madrid or you can fill the books like Barca, they don't really have a huge amount of money. So when an offer like this comes in, then probably going to snap the hands off. But just an idea of some of the stats, he played all but one game out of 38 in La Liga. He conceded 41 goals, keeping 13 clean sheets, and saved 3 out of the 6 penalties, saved 2. Now, we should never judge a player's ability off YouTube highlight reels, but we were both looking at it today, and the way we were both like, yep, sold, get him in. He's going to be the new number one for at least 10 years, as like you mentioned. He's literally got like reflexes, doesn't he?
Yeah, there's as you said, it's dangerous going onto YouTube and watching highlight reels, because I'm pretty sure that you could put that together for a Shoal Ramiobi or Riviere. Yeah, who knows? But you can make any player look good if all you're going to show is the best bits. But there's some of the saves he's pulling off in those highlights. He's got no right to actually pull those saves off. There's no way you should be able to save those. So that's a big plus. There are some clips of him where he's running out. He is actually coming off the ball. He's catching the ball in his box. He's commanding his area quite well. I know Lee was a little bit concerned that, I want to see the ones where he's conceded goals, because if he's punching those balls straight out to a striker and he's going to concede from those, fair enough. But yeah, look, I can't fault the kid for what he's actually able to do in that position. It'll be a case of, how comfortable he is with the ball at his feet for how we want to play, and we play out from the back, whether or not he's decent in that sweeper keeper role. And it could be that we bring him in under the guise that, look, Nick Pope's going to be the number one when we start the season, but we're going to get you to learn off him to then take over from him by the end of the season, and then Nick Pope would be like a backup or that sort of like depth option for us. Maybe that's what they're planning. So it gives him time to settle into the Premier League. We're not throwing him in game one with a brand new way of playing if he's not 100% comfortable with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And keepers, they tend to reach their peak a little bit later in their career as well. And like I say, he's 23 now, 24 in September. So if we do sign him, this bid comes through and we can get 10 to 12 years out of him, just like what we were talking about with Tino. he could potentially be a world-class player for the squad for maybe the next decade or so.
Yeah, I think the club's doing it right in that we're aiming at, you know, semi-established players, but players that are young enough with good ceilings on them. So they've got room to grow. They've got room to get better than what they currently are. We're not paying an absolute fortune for this finished article that we get 2 seasons out of at the top. And then we've got to kind of go, okay, now we've got to think about replacing them again.
Yeah.
We don't have the money to do that at the moment. We don't have that,
No.
that disposable income that the very top sides do. And we know that. We know the financial restrictions that we're under. But you know, if you think about, you know, Hall, Tino, you know, this kid Botman, you've got like the makings of a really solid team there for best part of 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I'm all for these sorts of signings. You know, hopefully the club have done their scouting and there's something comes of this. I'm not sort of sold on any player at the moment. I've been down this road too many times where I've been invested in a Darwin Núñez or something because we've been tipped to get him and they disappear somewhere else. But yeah, I certainly wouldn't say no to this kid.
And one other thing as well, again, his wages is apparently around 25k a week, £25,000 a week, which for a keeper of his potential, that would be a piss in the pond for us in terms of what we could offer him. I mean, Jeff Hendrick was on 45 grand a week. So, you know, we could give him his wages and say, yeah, there you go. It's up to you to earn a bigger bumper contract further down the line. So I can't imagine those negotiations would be an issue if this bid has been accepted. But again, it's another one. Watch one.
There's the issue. So apparently, Valencia's already bought a new keeper in, which everyone was tipping to be his direct replacement, knowing that he was going to end up leaving this window anyway. And you know, if you've got this sort of backup plan anyway, maybe they're not going to stand in his way. Valencia don't have European football either, as far as I'm aware. So there's no kind of draw card for that going, oh, well, I'm leaving Europe to come and play in the Premier League and not know what my future holds. I think it's just all about buying into that project and you know, getting on board with Eddie Howe's vision for what we need for the future.
Absolutely. Let's hope it's another one that comes off. The club can pull it through, and we've got a potentially new number one keeper for the foreseeable future. But that pretty much rounds up for the transfer news today. But it's going to touch on the breaking news from maybe an hour or so ago about the official sports retail partner of Newcastle United and JD Sports. This is something that we kind of knew about a while ago when the court case broke about how Ashley didn't want JD to have the exclusive on the new Adidas kits, which launched this Friday. Mark, your thoughts on this and how big of a two fingers up to Ashley is this?
I think I remember that there's history between the owner of JD Sports and Mike Ashley anyway, isn't there? I think they've been throats over the years about different sports deals and what have you. So for us to go through JD Sports is just a massive bit of shithousery. It's a complete wind up for Ashley, and I absolutely love every second of it. Having said that, though, even just on a sensible note, the JD Sports has built a brand up where it's a respectable sports company now. They've kind of won I think it was like, what was someone referring to it as, the athleticism clothing market or whatever in the UK.
All right, yeah.
But you know, they're well respected. They've got the capacity, they've got the professionalism, and the fact that it's not Mike Ashley, and Mike Ashley has absolutely nothing to do with this now. I think that's a massive plus for most fans, and I think most fans, if you're like me, I'm quite happy to pay a little bit extra, knowing that it's not going into Mike Ashley's pocket and it's going straight to the club.
Yes, absolutely. I'm over the moon with it. And again, it's just more pennies in the bank for the club. There will be some JD branding on match days, that sort of thing. So they are paying for advertising as well. But apart from that, it's all good news in that regard because, again, it just tops up the coffers. Ashley doesn't get a penny from us at all. He's not going to get our merchandise. And good news is JD is available here in Australia.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll be able to walk in and buy some of the new kit off the peg, which is something we can't just do right now. That would be an absolute bonus for us. But yeah, it'll pretty much wrap up everything that we've got to talk about today. If you have any questions or comments on the two players mentioned or the JD Sports thing, please write down below. Contact us on social media. We will try and get back in touch with you as soon as we can. And if you don't already, please subscribe to the channel and give this video a thumbs up. It really does help us out massively if you do so. One last thing regarding the Mamardashvili deal. Let's hope a certain bald Georgian who likes to strip half naked gets on the phone and kick the fuck out of advertise, and Boards gets in touch and says, yeah, you know, same for that club in the northeast of England. They're a canny bunch up there. And go write your name in their folklore, you know. That would be absolutely incredible. He's currently the manager of the Cypriot national team, I think. So no chance of the meeting in the Euros, but that'd be canny if we could make a quick call and get us our new number one for the foreseeable. But thanks,
Hopefully
Mark.
he's less
Thanks for jumping
raggy.
on. Say again?
Hopefully he's a bit less raggy.
Yeah, it's all that part of the world. They're all a bit bonkers, aren't they? You know, everyone looks to see a player go raj every now and again. I remember when Robert done it when he stripped half naked. Oh, he got his kegs.
Yeah.
Yes, that was hilarious on that one. But that will do it for today. We've kept everyone for long enough. Hope you enjoyed the pod. Please, again, give us a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done already. And we will see you this Friday when we go about talking the new kit. That should be out sometime Friday evening for us or Friday morning for everyone back in the UK. But again, Mark, thanks for tagging along. And I will see you and everyone on the next one.
Take care, mate.